Hey now, what is up everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka Review King MB, and this is my 31 days of horror movie reviews. And I don't know why I'm tending to pick these movies that are either disappointing or, let's just be honest, suck. This film is one of those movies that I think could have been so much better, could have had like a huge following if it took off the right way. I'm talking about the Boogeyman. Whoa, the Boogeyman. Come on, it's gold. The Boogeyman, just the concept of the Boogeyman. This film came out in 2005. It's directed by Stephen K. And the plot is we meet this guy Tim, who has a messed up past when he was a kid and stuff that happened not only with his mom, but how his father was taken by the Boogeyman in his closet. So now, all these years later, he gets out of a psychiatric hospital and he needs to confront these fears to see whether or not the Boogeyman is real or what's really going on. And over the course of the film, he gets put through hell. Now, like I said, this movie could have been something big, could have been something huge. The Boogeyman is a concept that if you say it to somebody, they'll know what it is, even if it's hard to describe. Like, what is the Boogeyman? We just know that it's something to be afraid of, it's something to be nervous about, it's something that lives in your closet and it will try to eat you or kill you. It's so ingrained in our heads, it's so in the basis of pulp culture, the Boogeyman. The problem is that how do you present that on screen? How do you make that in a movie look scary, look like something that is terrifying? And this movie, I think, fails at doing that. Tim, our main character, is played by Barry Watson, who some of you may remember him from Seventh Heaven. I don't really know what he's done since this movie. I get that because of how teeny boppy family drama that show was, that he wanted to do something completely different. Jessica Alba went through a similar thing where she went for horror. He goes for horror. Even the other sister went for horror when she was in Saw 2. Like, they want some blood, gore, guts, and horrific stuff to play with. And I think he does a fine job, but he's also not somebody that I was 100% behind, because honestly there was somebody else in the movie that I thought should have been the main character that I liked a little bit more. You see the flashes of his father being taken away, and it's kind of goofy. Something about the CGI, their approach on how they presented the Boogeyman, I just thought was lazy. The CGI looks terrible. I know it's 2005. I know they didn't have the biggest budget, but still, when you can go practical, just do it. Have a dude in a robe, have a silly costume. At least it would look more real. The CGI smoke monster thing just didn't really do much for me. His mother, you get flashes of that, played by Lucy Lawless, who she was like a really messed up crazy person, and she abused him, and so her death is what brings him back home in the first place. His psychiatrist tells him, hey, no, all those crazy events that you had at that house that you grew up in, between your father disappearing, between your mother abusing you, well, the only way to get over it is to go stay at that house. Huh? I know that sometimes psychiatrists, or maybe it is a psychology thing, right? Face your fear, confront your fear. But why? He tells you all these horrific stories that happened in this house when he was so young. It's clearly why would you give him advice to go back to that place? It's just, it seems very irresponsible. He does go there. Really bad. But the person who I thought should have been the main character, I mentioned this earlier, the person who I thought was most interesting, Emily Deschanel plays Kate, and she's a childhood friend of Tim. They grew up together. They're like this, but it has been years since he was in the hospital and whatnot. When he comes back home, they instantly connect, they instantly reconnect and bond. And one of two things is going on here. The movie wants you to want them to end up together, and I guess that's something. But like I said before, his girlfriend wasn't that horrible of a person, so her death is circumstantial, and you kind of feel bad about wanting them to get back together. But Emily Deschanel, she's a good actress. I wish that she was the main focus because she's a better actress than Tim, let's be honest. And also, I think they could have done something with the whole idea of, hey, here's this girl who has stayed in this town, who has been here. Maybe she too has been through some stuff. And maybe she can give him some more help. I saw deleted scenes of this movie that showed that she was supposed to die at the end. And man, that would have sucked. Luckily, test audiences saw this and said, no, F that mess. And so they reshot it where she survives. So at least telling a more interesting story. No, it felt like it was going by the numbers. It felt like it was so cliched as far as jump scares, and the smoke CGI stuff. I couldn't get past how lazy of a design this was for the Boogeyman itself. This Boogeyman should have been terrifying. Should have been something that nightmares are made of. They call Michael Myers the Boogeyman for a reason, because he's terrifying and he's just a man. Freddy Krueger has an interesting look. Pinhead, as much as those movies suck, he looks very memorable. They could have gone a lot more creative. They could have created something insane for the Boogeyman itself, and ultimately it's just sort of blah. And that sums up my thoughts of this movie. Pretty much blah. So guys, let me know in the comments below if you too have seen The Boogeyman. What do you think of it? Do you like it more than I do, or do you agree that it's not that great? It should have been a lot better. Can you believe that this movie got sequels? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later.
Walking on broken glass, kicking down the door with a Jason mask, with a decked out machete, but you motherfuckers know it's heavy. Anytime you're ready, you can get you with a Bowie. Setting up to blow me, but the bitch don't know me. Who's going? I'm going. You know, I know that the man in the mirror is my next rival. Time goes and I never thought I'd live it so fast. Staring at the world from the end of my glass, turned into a dark place, severed my brain. I done dropped out of class.